Hey, Pussnet, new little video. This one's going to be a short one, but I got to work with it goes into with the trauma series on self-reliance medicine. Last summer, I was at my brother's place, and back east, and somebody injured himself, and I got to work with a product that I heard of, but never used it myself. So I knew it would be good for the injury, and so I went and purchased some. And obviously I left it over there. But it got me to really discover how great that is. And recently, this is why I'm talking about it now. I was shopping, and it was on sale at 50%, actually 60%. So I bought a roll. So the product, and there'll be a link down on the website. It's called ktape. So in a self-reliance situation, there's a lot of, so we always talk, when we talk trauma, we always think about the bone fractures and burns, but we rarely talk about strained ankles, or even just if you would think, if suddenly, you're I don't know, you're an accountant, and suddenly you get into a self-reliance situation where it's a long time, and now you have to cut your own woods and stuff. You're going to work muscles that you're not used to work with, and in repetitive movements. And so you could strain muscles in a certain way, where physio is more suitable, and you don't need a splint and things like that, but you would probably need some physio. But obviously, being in a situation where there's no medical help, you'll have to do it yourself. And this is where this product comes very good with. So what it is, it's basically a roll of tape, and this usually I think is around $25, and probably even cheaper because that was Canadian. And as you can see, it's so those are bandlets like this, and so I got a pretty good supply now of that kind of stuff. What it is, and so like I said initially, I didn't work with it, so I didn't quite understand how it works and stuff, and so it looks like it's just this size, but what it is, it's a tape. But it does more than the usual tape, because this one has like synthetic into it, and so there's a certain stretch with it, and so that means that you can reproduce certain movements. So for example, if you have ligament, so let's say I injure my knee this way, and because my arm wants to overcompensate a certain way, and I need to re-pull the movements in a certain way, I need to stretch it in a certain distance, but obviously one part will be longer and the other one will be shorter, so I need to bring it back. But if I bring in too much, then I'll overstretch the other part. And so this is where those bandlets becomes very useful, because what they are is basically kind of splint, but for tendons and ligaments. Because instead of making your arm stiff in a certain way, what it'll prevent, or it will give you support. So where your strain happens and where your ligaments got injured, it will remain your arm in a certain way and helps it remain in a certain situation until you heal, and prevent you from doing certain movements. So as you can see, the other advantage of buying this versus the usual, because a lot of people will buy like cotton tape for this, it's a roll of tape. So to bring it, you have to do things. But this, all you have to do is out of the rolls. So basically, it comes as a roll like this, but see, like there's cuts all over the place, and so I take the distance that I need. But that means too that if you carry like a smaller first aid kit, like for example in a wilderness kit, bring the whole roll wouldn't be very useful, but in a boo-boo kit or something like this can be pretty easily foldable and usable. So that means with one roll you can do a lot of your first aid kits with that stuff, and for $20 again, because you may not never need that stuff, but when you need it, it was very useful, like when I had that injury as well. So out of the box, so that was the box, came with the roll like this, and came some instruction on a lot of the injuries and how to apply it. So right out of the box there too, so that means, like, for example, and this is like glassy paper, so that means not waterproof but water resistance. So that means, like, for example, those instructions will go in my here, because I'll put a few of those in my wilderness first aid kit, so those instructions will be on, so I could photocopy that and put it in all my other kits as well. When the grid is up, there's also, and this is the link that I'll put down, there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to apply that stuff, and this is what I used last summer. Like I said, I didn't know exactly how to use that for the injury that I had, but I suspected that was his injury based on the exam and everything, and I'm no physio, but musculoskeletal injuries are not my forte. I still was able to injure and to reduce, because that's where I saw where the injury is. So it was a great test for me as well, that it's not really familiar with that stuff, to see how great they work without a lot of training. So yeah, you apply those, and then you stretch it in a certain distance. And so yeah, the website over here sorry, has YouTube videos on how to apply it for different injuries, and it tells you if you need some stretch, no stretch, because as we'll see, I'll demonstrate a little bit, it has a little stretch to it, which cotton tape a lot of times doesn't have it. And so again, for $20, it gives you a lot for your money. So I thought it would be a good thing to discuss about it. So how the tape goes, you see, like now, because there's paper on it, there's no stretch at all. But what you do is you break, so depending again how you're going to apply. So if I'm going to apply this part here, and depending on the instruction, you'll see there's different ways of applying it. I would break it here, or maybe more 3/4, 1/4. So it depends on how you're going to apply it and everything. But this is the advantage too. It's multi-use depending on how I'm going to apply it. But basically, you tear a little piece of the paper that you're going to apply how you're going to start your thing, because sometimes some bandlet's going to go on the side, sometimes they'll go on across, sometimes they'll go on the from top to bottom, and again, it depends on your anatomy and what you're trying to achieve. Am I trying to bring my arm this way, or am I trying to bring the ligament this way, or rotational? So it's kind of 3 dimensions, so you have to think about what you're trying to achieve. So once you apply this, and so I'll show you on my hands. So basically, let's say I apply over here. Once you apply the first part, you see how so this is applied now, and you see it kind of stretch as I pull. So all this is stretch, and you apply it as you go in there, and it'll tell you 100% stretch, 50% stretch. So you see, I can apply at different length, because obviously, if let's say there was a rotational thing, but if I pull too much, then I'll overstretch the other part, and then I'm gonna have trouble with the other part of it. So sometimes you don't want to pull too much and stuff, but it's a very stretchy material and very resistant, as you can see. So it took all that to break it. So it's very resistant. The beauty with that too, it's waterproof and so usually it can stays 4 to 7 days. So that means, again, just like the 21st century dressing, one advantage of this is once application and you're good for a week. So that means, like, if you think about that, let's say you need 2 bandlets, because a lot of those things you need like 2 or 3 bandlets. 2 bandlets every 7 days, so you got a lot of time there to heal from whatever injury you're doing, and then it can get you back into stuff. So I wanted to do a quick thing. So there's 20. I see here there's 20 bandlets on the box here. It says there's 20 bandlets in here. So let's say 2. That means 10 injuries for 7 days. So let's say 1 injury at 2. So at 4, 20 at 10. So yeah, almost like 2 or 3 months out of the same injury that you would be able to do with 1 roll, which usually you wouldn't need that much anyway to recuperate. So yeah, I wanted to do a quick video on that, and I'll talk to you soon.